Full-on Fukushima rain.
We interrupt our programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
Explosion occurred in the number 3 reactor building.
3 days after a massive quake hit Japan and a tsunami, another hydrogen explosion at a nuclear plant. It is the third in as many days. And now another reactor can no longer cool itself, raising concerns about a possible meltdown.
Ask questions at my press conferences now, so we'll just get the message out on the road. The press gallery at the leadership level has taken an anti-conservative view. I have trouble believing that, frankly, a Liberal Prime Minister would have this problem.
Hi, I'm Arnie Gunderson from Fairwinds, and today is Wednesday, April 13th. I'd like to talk to you today about 3 things that have come up in the last couple of days. The first is that Tokyo Electric has raised the accident severity level to a 7. The second is some similarities that I'm seeing between how this accident is progressing and 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl in regards to controlling the information. And the third is I received a lot of emails about what should I do here in the States and what should I do in different countries about potentially changing lifestyle habits or leaving. So I'd like to talk about those today. But the first one is yesterday TEPCO changed the rating of this accident from a 5 to a 7. And what that means is they had been saying it was like 3 Mile Island, and now they're saying it's as severe as Chernobyl. Well, I felt that way for almost the last month, and frankly, it should come as no surprise to anyone that this accident is as bad. There's 7 nuclear reactors and fuel pools that are not being cooled here, and there's been 3 meltdowns and an explosion in a fuel pool. So the net effect is that this is certainly a catastrophe on the level of Chernobyl, and has been for the last couple of weeks rather. It's interesting because before this accident occurred, the worst that anybody ever thought would be 1 nuclear reactor, not with a meltdown, but with 1% nuclear fuel failed, containment retained its integrity, and this is 3 nuclear reactors, a fuel pool, etc. This is about 1,000 times worse than ever anticipated by the nuclear planners. The second thing is that I've noticed some disturbing similarities between the information that's coming out of Fukushima and what came out of Chernobyl and what came out of TMI. You may remember I was an expert in that trial in the 90s. And it seems as if the government and also the people that own the reactors begin to try to control the information and limit a couple of things. They try to limit the amount of radiation released, and they try to limit the effect of that radiation on people. And then the other thing is they try to delay evacuations until they're too late. I saw that at 3 Mile Island, and I saw that at Chernobyl, and I see it beginning to occur here too. Now, back on the 30th anniversary of 3 Mile Island, I was invited to Harrisburg, to the Capitol, and I gave a speech, and it's up here on the website right next to the video here. It was about what I call the 3 myths of 3 Mile Island. And if trends continue, we could call it the 3 myths of Fukushima as well. I'm hoping that in an internet era that more information will be available to more independent scientists, and that governments and utilities don't try to monopolize that data. It's about a half-an-hour video, and at the beginning of it, you'll hear music in the background. While I was giving the speech, there was a marching band in a rotunda next to the room. So I ask you to, if you watch the video, to bear with me for the first 10 minutes for the music in the background. Right after my speech, Dr. Steve Wing gave a speech about the actual health effects of 3 Mile Island. And because the radiation releases have been downplayed by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and by the 3 Mile Island itself, we've been led to believe there were no injuries. Dr. Wing's data clearly shows that that's wrong. And I'm concerned that we're beginning to see the industry circle the wagons and make that presentation. I heard it on NPR today, for example. So please be aware that the trend of trying to consolidate information is not new, but I think in the internet era we stand a chance to break that. The last thing today is that I've had many emails from people saying, what should I do? Should I move? Should I change the way I eat? A lot of the U.S. government sites are down right now. And I'm not going to attribute motive to that, but I will let you know that I'm concerned that we're not getting the radiation data that we should be getting from the U.S. government sites. There's a lot of independent scientists out there that are gathering data, and I think that probably by next week I'll be in a position to better estimate what that is. I guess if you're concerned, washing leafy vegetables can't hurt, and watching milk consumption can't hurt. But short of that, I really don't have any data to share with you this week. I think maybe next week we will.
Lying about this stuff. New EPA milk samples in Hawaii show radiation in milk 800 times above limits for Caesium 134, 333 times above the limits for Caesium 137, and 600 times above.
think that they're gambling that somehow they can control it, but the problem is it's like playing Russian roulette with 4 of the 6 chambers with a bullet in them. Now, would you sit down with the Russian and he's got a big bottle of vodka on the table and he says, we drink vodka, we have 4 chambers full of 6 chambers with bullets.
But you would agree this is a global catastrophe, as you said,
yeah,
the worst man-made disaster in history. So why is not the IAEA, the UN, and the nuclear club of nations, the U.S., Russia, France, and so on, demanding that Japan immediately entomb these reactors?
We interrupt our programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
This is a commercial urging you not to buy something. Strange. The very latest TVs have FST, but don't buy one. FST doesn't mean
Fairly smart T.
It means flatter, square tube, which means a brighter, clearer picture. But don't buy one. Rent.
Province says if people are concerned, emergency management teams are providing the government with frequent briefings on the situation in Japan.
And as soon as we have anything new to share, they can be assured that we will provide that information, pass it along to them.
The provincial health officer says from all the information he's seen, there is no risk of dangerous levels of radiation reaching BC.
So I can understand people being alarmed. I can understand people wanting to take precautions. But the best advice around potassium iodide I could give is only take it under doctor's instructions. And I don't think we're anywhere near that point at the present time.
Kendall says if people are really concerned about disasters, they should take the time to build an earthquake kit. Money and time, the provincial health officer says, is well spent.
Stephen Andrew joins us now with more on the story. Stephen, 2 hours after your interview with Dr. Kendall, he put out an advisory on the issue. What does it say?
Well, Hudson, he's telling pharmacies not to stockpile these tablets and not to dispense them. He says basically that taking these iodide tablets really is of no use because there's no current risk to radiation.
And are health officials confident that they're getting the right information? Are they following the guidelines that are coming from other organizations?
They are, Hudson. They're checking with the BC Centre for Disease Control, other federal nuclear agencies, also agencies in Washington State and the World Health Organization. And they're all saying the same thing, Hudson, that there's no risk at the present time from the situation in Japan.
All right, Stephen Andrew, thank you.
You're welcome.